baby, grand rising kings, queens, in betweens. It is time to rise and thrive, if you know what I mean. Look, back at you with another beautiful video, and this one is called 6 Easy Steps on How to Overcome Hard Times. And I know what you may be thinking. I've tried everything, right? Maybe you have. But why not try something new that maybe you didn't know existed? Step number 1, don't let the hard times soften you. Let the hard times harden you. And what I mean by that is, eventually, like anything, and especially in the world of weightlifting, and you don't have to weightlift to understand this, so bear with me. When you lift a heavy amount of weight that you're not used to, your body has this unique ability to evolve from strength into weakness. And a lot of that is found in the grip strength, where this right here on your palm ends up becoming stronger, but not before it ends up ripping and tearing and being uncomfortable to try to hold and pull that weight, really push yourself through those mental barriers that lead to physical results. And before you know it, given enough time and your body healing after it gets, a little damaged, all of a sudden becomes stronger. Now the calluses play to your advantage. Now you can harness that weight, you can pull it, you can hold it, you can do things you weren't able to do at first. So let those hard times harden you. Don't allow them to make you softer. Your emotions are valid. It's okay to be emotional, but it's not okay to let your emotions turn you into a victim. You got to understand that your emotions are in your control most of the time. Maybe not at first, when a lot of people react to certain things, but given enough time, if you know how to channel your energy, doing a lot of breath work exercises has worked for me in my life. However you counteract the challenges that you face in the moment to bring yourself back to that internal state, that peaceful state, you can then create the next step to respond rather than react. Step number 2, thinking backwards will never propel you forwards. I'm sure you may have heard the cliche saying that the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror in a vehicle. And that's because it's more important to see where you're going than what's behind you. Though, looking at the past on occasion, if you look at it in a healthy manner, to get something positive from it, maybe what you can encounter different if you start experiencing similar emotions and similar physical things that you can see. How can I handle this different? That's when the rear view mirror is just as key as the windshield. But if you look into it too long, all of a sudden you're not going to know where you're going. You're going to stray off course. You may go off road, cause an accident, whatever it may be. Just remember, eyes forward, chest out, chin up, no doubt. You got to understand that always looking backwards is not going to propel you forwards. Only for a brief period of time, like taking an arrow, drawing it back as far as possible just to let it go and see it sail through the air at a magnificent speed and distance. That right there, my friends, is key. You can glance back, but don't stare back. Keep your eyes forward. You've got this. Step number 3, this one is very crucial, failure. Looking at failure as, what can I learn from this? Instead of, why does this keep happening to me? Is one of the main keys to growth. Your mentality plays a volatile role in how you see life, how you see yourself, what you're willing to do and what you're willing to not do. So if you always look at certain failures and shortcomings in a victim mindset and mentality of, why is this happening to, instead of why is this happening for, you're not going to move forward in life. You're going to continue to get what a lot of people would say stuck in the mud. You're not going to get anything great because of the way that you're choosing to look at the things that are happening around you, which now you're allowing to affect what's happening inside you. So back to that key point, let failure shape you in a sense. Let the failures lead you to ask the question, why did this happen for me? Maybe you had messed up. Maybe you said something in a way that didn't seem too appealing. Maybe you did something that you could have done differently to create a better result potentially. There's a whole lot of ways to look at something, but look at it through a neutral perspective with some positive attributes. Stop making yourself feel inferior because you may have made a mistake. You're a being. Beings make mistakes. No one is perfect. Life itself is not perfect. You can't get out of it alive. So stop striving for perfection and just start striving for improvement. And in order to improve, you got to defeat the old you. But you got this. Step number 4, reflect back to clarity. Something I came up with is just because there's fog in the road doesn't mean that the destination doesn't exist. Just means that you may not be able to see it because your vision's currently clouded in front of you. Just remember, in order to get through that clouded vision, you got to keep moving forward. They created fog lights for a reason. What is your version? What is your version of the fog light? Something to look at yourself, where you are, where you're going, what you're experiencing, why, who, how, what. You all have what it takes to break down this barrier. Like I said, just because there's a little fog in the road doesn't mean the destination doesn't exist anymore. Just means you got to go through some unclear situations in order to get to the clarity of life. And remember why you started. Remember what it is that you want. Align your mind with your intention. And as you continue to do this, you're going to get those good emotions you once received when you first started. And like anyone doing anything, when they start out, they're excited, they're motivated, they can't wait to do the next thing. And then 100 days goes by, they're still kind of excited, but not as excited. 2, 3, 4, 5, 600, maybe 1,000 days go by. Now all of a sudden, it's the same thing over and over. It's the same run of the mill. The spark no longer exists, but you have a little bit of a flame brewing. Find a way to continue to get that sparked feeling by aligning your mind with that clarity and that intentional vision. And you will break through and persevere. So like I said, reflect back to clarity. Just because there's a little fog in the road doesn't mean that the destination is no longer there. You got to be able to believe it in your mind in order to see it in reality. The next step, number 5, detach yourself from outcomes. Detach yourself from rewards of any kind in nature, because a lot of us get hung up on what we're receiving for the work that we're doing. And the more that you do that, the less immersed in the process you become. And the process holds all the magic. So detach yourself from the outcome and immerse yourself back into the process. Fall in love again with why you do what you do. Because that right there is a great way to continue to, 1, keep that spark, like I said in the last step, but also continue to fuel the fire. And before you know it, the outcomes that you receive are based on the person that you choose to be. Once again, the outcomes you receive are based on the person that you're choosing to be. Just remember that. The final step in how to overcome hard times is this. Feel empowered and inspired through the struggle. Why not you? Don't give up. You got to understand that if people gave up on themselves, the game changers of the world, you know, the Walt Disneys, the Wright brothers, the Ben Franklins, the Albert Einsteins, and every name under the sun we could name. If they gave up before their monumental achievements, we wouldn't have beautiful luxuries such as flight. To be able to go from one part of the country to the other in merely 6 hours. We wouldn't have this microphone. We wouldn't have electricity. We wouldn't have these beautiful things that currently exist in our reality world. But the thing is, they saw it within their internal world, which is why I always say that your projection is nothing more than a reflection of how you see yourself and what is possible or impossible for you. But you're the person that decides. No one else is forcing these choices on you. You are willingly waking up every day, choosing whatever path you're walking, how you're speaking, how you choose to look at certain things. It's all on you. So why not starting to choose better? Why not choose a better way to counteract how you feel about certain things? Just because someone does something you doesn't like doesn't mean that you have to pour minutes and hours of your time into criticizing and ridiculing and judging. You ever met the people that something negative happens at 7 a.m., they're still talking about it at 7 p.m.? What good is that doing for you? Nothing. You're robbing yourself of all the beauty of the moments that you have and will never get back. But a lot of people don't like to look at it like that. A lot of people want to hold on to being that little kid that didn't get their way. Listen, to each their own. All I know is the longer that you choose that path of living life, the harder life is going to become. Because if you can't manage your emotions when dealing with others, how do you expect to manage your emotions when dealing with yourself? So remember these 6 steps. Apply them to your life every single day. And remember that improvement comes over time, not overnight. But everything great starts with taking that first step and then gaining the momentum through many steps to follow. You can do this. I believe in you, but you've got to believe in yourself. Thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for listening and watching this video. Please share it with someone that you know. Let's help inspire the world, one person, one video at a time. And I appreciate you. You are amazing. You are magnificent. You are extraordinary. And you are worthy of living the life of your dreams. But it all starts and ends with you. You've got this.